Archimedes, Syracuse, present-day Italy, ca. 287 BCE, Syracuse 212 BCE, Greek mathematician. The significant advances in mathematics and astronomy during the Hellenistic period owe much to earlier scientific progress and the legacy of Eastern knowledge, as well as the new opportunities provided by the Hellenistic world. At the beginning of this era stands Euclid, who left behind a prolific synthesis of the knowledge of his time. This work, which has survived almost intact, became a nearly indispensable reference up to the modern age. However, the most famous and esteemed mathematician of that time was Archimedes. His writings, about a dozen of which have been preserved, demonstrate the multifaceted nature of his scientific expertise. The son of the astronomer Phidias, who likely introduced him to mathematics, Archimedes surpassed all ancient mathematicians to such a degree that even the founders of modern science regarded him as prodigious and divine. His education was refined in Alexandria, the great cultural hub of the Hellenistic world, where around 243 BCE, he became a student of the astronomer and mathematician Conon of Samos, whom he deeply respected and admired. In Alexandria, after mastering the considerable mathematical knowledge of the school, shortly after the death of the great Euclid, he formed friendships with other prominent mathematicians, including Eratosthenes, with whom he maintained correspondence even after returning to Sicily. To Eratosthenes, Archimedes dedicated his work **The Method**, where he presented his brilliant application of mechanics to geometry, using an imaginary weighing of unknown areas and volumes to determine their values. Archimedes later returned to Syracuse, where he dedicated himself entirely to scientific work. It is believed that he returned to Egypt briefly as an engineer for Ptolemy, designing his first major invention there, the Archimedean screw, a machine used to raise water and irrigate areas beyond the reach of the Nile's flooding. Nevertheless, his mature scientific activity unfolded entirely in Syracuse under the patronage of the tyrant Hero II. There, he combined mechanical inventions with theoretical mechanics and advanced mathematics, blending intuitive daring with rigorous methodology. Among his many mechanical inventions are a number of war machines designed for the defense of Syracuse, as well as a sphere, a sophisticated mechanical planetarium. After the fall of Syracuse, the Romans took this sphere as war spoils, and it was later admired by Cicero and possibly Ovid in Rome. Archimedes' biography is filled with captivating anecdotes, more than the historical facts just recounted. His contemporaries, the Romans, ancient writers, and even Arab scholars contributed to the legendary image surrounding him. Plutarch, for example, attributed superhuman intelligence to this great mathematician and engineer. The most well-known anecdote, recounted by Vitruvius, concerns the method Archimedes used to determine whether gold had been fraudulently mixed with silver in a crown commissioned by Hero II. The tyrant, suspecting deceit, asked Archimedes to identify the metals used in the crown without damaging it. After long contemplation, Archimedes noticed while bathing that water overflowed from the tub as he submerged himself. This observation inspired a method to determine the crown's volume by submerging it in water and measuring the displaced liquid, which he then compared to the volume of a pure gold object of the same weight. Overcome with joy, Archimedes is said to have run naked through the streets of Syracuse shouting, Eureka! Eureka! I found it! I found it! This principle is reflected in one of the initial propositions of his work on floating bodies a pioneering text in hydrostatics that later influenced modern scientists like Galileo. Known as Archimedes' principle, it states that a body submerged in a fluid experiences an upward buoyant force equal to the weight of the fluid displaced. This principle enabled him to prove the jeweler's fraud. Another famous anecdote, recounted by Plutarch, involves Archimedes' fascination with the power of his machines. He famously claimed that with a proper fulcrum, he could move the earth. To demonstrate, he reportedly used a complex pulley system to easily move a fully loaded, three-masted ship. Archimedes' passion for his work ultimately led to his death. According to tradition, his war machines enabled Syracuse to resist the Romans for 3 years. When the city finally fell, Archimedes, absorbed in his geometric studies, was killed by a Roman soldier despite orders from General Marcellus to spare his life. Marcellus deeply mourned Archimedes' death and honored him with a monument featuring a figure from on the sphere and the cylinder *. Cicero later rediscovered this tomb. Archimedes' rigorous approach to statics parallels Euclid's achievements in geometry. This effort is particularly evident in 2 of his works, on the equilibrium of planes where he derived the law of the lever and determined the center of gravity for various shapes, and on the sphere and the cylinder where he applied a precursor to integral calculus to calculate the surface area of a sphere and establish the relationship between a sphere and its circumscribing cylinder. This theorem, his favorite, was inscribed on his tombstone at his request, enabling Cicero to identify the grave many years later.